not a teacher, Ice. I'm a fighter pilot. Naval aviator.
Top Gun 3 was pretty much inevitable after Top Gun Maverick crushed it at the box office. Tom Cruise coming back as Maverick after 36 years? Yeah, that was a massive deal. The sequel brought back all the nostalgia, threw in some insane aerial shots, and gave us a fresh batch of pilots claiming they were the best of the best. Audiences were hooked, and the demand for a third movie was instant. But even though Maverick pulled in a crazy $1.4 billion worldwide, they didn't just rush into Top Gun 3. Time's been flying by, and we haven't had a ton of solid updates until recently. While everyone's been waiting for news, Maverick star Jay Ellis, aka Payback, shed some light on why the movie's taking so long. He confirmed that the script is still in the works and that the team is taking their time to get it right. And honestly, that tracks. Tom Cruise is a perfectionist. He took forever to make Maverick because he wanted real jet footage and the best possible story. So with Top Gun 3, he's obviously making sure everything is just as epic. Ellis even mentioned that Jerry Bruckheimer and Joe Kosinski are still involved, so you know they're aiming for something huge. Bottom line, they're not rushing it, but they're definitely working on it. Even though rumors have been swirling forever, Top Gun 3 wasn't officially confirmed until January 2024. And when it finally was, the best part? Cruise was locked in to return as Maverick. A whole year passed without any major updates, but then in February 2025, Ellis reassured fans that the project was still very much alive. The thing is, they want Top Gun 3 to be the best sequel possible, which means there's no set timeline for its release yet. Fans are still hyped for another trip to the danger zone, but it looks like patience is key. Now, as for the cast, we know Cruise is back, obviously, and he's not coming alone. Miles Teller is set to return as Rooster, and Glenn Powell will be back as Hangman. That's a solid start, but they're keeping the rest of the cast under wraps for now. There's a good chance more familiar faces from Maverick will return, but who exactly? That's still a mystery. One thing's for sure, though, bringing back the OGs for a full-on reunion would be legendary. Story-wise, Maverick didn't exactly leave us with a clear setup for a sequel, but let's be real, Top Gun 3 was always going to happen. The new movie will definitely revolve around another high-stakes mission, but the real heart of the story will be in how it pushes the characters forward. That said, Maverick did drop a pretty interesting plot thread: Admiral Kane's whole plan to replace human pilots with drones. If Top Gun 3 leans into that, we could see Maverick and his team taking on AI-controlled aircraft to prove that human pilots are still superior to machines. Sounds like an epic showdown, right? And let's talk about the potential for a Top Gun reunion. A lot of the original crew didn't make it into Maverick, but a war against drones? That could be the perfect excuse to bring them back. Imagine the OG fighter pilots reuniting for one last mission, proving once and for all that experience and skill beat out technology. It'd be a killer tribute to the original movie while also making for a pretty badass story. That said, the Top Gun Maverick ending started with the death of Iceman, Admiral Tom Kazansky, after which Maverick lost his protection and was removed as Top Gun's instructor by Cyclone. But Maverick had other plans. Rather than accepting his fate, Maverick took matters into his own hands, stealing a plane and perfectly executing the seemingly impossible mission simulation. His performance proved to the trainees that success wasn't just about the aircraft, it was about the skill and courage of the pilot. This moment not only reaffirmed Maverick's legacy, but also set up the thrilling climax the movie had been building toward. With the stakes higher than ever, Maverick was assigned to lead the mission to destroy the underground uranium facility. He selected Phoenix and Bob as Dagger 1, while Dagger 2 was comprised of Payback and Fanboy, with Rooster as his wingman. Hangman, feeling sidelined after not being chosen, was left on standby on the aircraft carrier flight deck. The plan was simple in theory, but near impossible in execution. They had 2 minutes and 30 seconds to fly low through the canyons, avoiding enemy surface-to-air missiles, and hit the target with precision. Maverick reached the critical 3-meter target, blasting it to create an opening for Dagger 2. Dagger 2, despite facing obstacles, managed to pick up speed and reach the target. Rooster, in a last-second adjustment after their laser malfunctioned, successfully sight-checked and hit the target, destroying the underground uranium facility. Their rigorous training paid off as they endured the intense 9.5G climb to escape, narrowly avoiding collision with the mountain. However, their troubles were far from over. Enemy forces launched SAMs and dispatched fifth-generation fighters to intercept them. The pilots deployed flares to deflect incoming missiles, but Rooster ran out of countermeasures at a critical moment. Seeing no other option, Maverick shielded Rooster with his own jet, taking the hit and getting shot down in the process. With Maverick seemingly down, Phoenix, Bob, Payback, and Fanboy made it safely back to the aircraft carrier. Cyclone, believing Maverick to be dead, refused to scramble Hangman for a rescue mission, prioritizing the safety of the remaining pilots. However, Rooster refused to leave Maverick behind and, against orders, flew back to rescue him. He successfully took down an enemy assault helicopter but was shot down himself shortly after. Against all odds, Rooster survived, and he and Maverick reunited on the ground. The duo, now stranded behind enemy lines, managed to locate an old surplus F-14 Tomcat, a relic of Maverick's past, and made a daring escape. Their troubles were far from over. As they attempted to return home, two fifth-generation enemy fighters intercepted them. Maverick, relying on his decades of experience, managed to outmaneuver and shoot down one of the enemy planes. The second fighter engaged them in a tense aerial battle, but Maverick skillfully used the terrain to confuse its targeting system. Just as it seemed they had made it, a third enemy fighter closed in on them. Out of weapons and with no escape, Maverick urged Rooster to eject. However, the old F-14's canopy was jammed, leaving them defenseless. At the last possible moment, Hangman swooped in, taking down the enemy fighter and saving Maverick and Rooster. The trio returned to the aircraft carrier as heroes, with the Navy using a net to catch their damaged F-14, which had lost its front landing gear. In a moment of defiant triumph, Maverick performed his trademark illegal flyby of the flight deck, rattling Cyclone in classic Maverick fashion. The film wrapped up long-standing tensions, with Rooster and Hangman settling their rivalry, much like Maverick and Iceman had in the original Top Gun. Maverick and Rooster finally reconciled, bringing closure to years of unresolved pain and fulfilling what Goose would have wanted. One of the most poignant aspects of Top Gun Maverick was how it honored Iceman, and by extension, Val Kilmer. In the original Top Gun, Iceman won the Top Gun trophy and went on to have a distinguished career, eventually rising to the rank of 4-star Admiral and Commander of the United States Pacific Fleet. Despite his high position, Iceman never forgot the debt he owed Maverick for saving his life in 1986. He became Maverick's guardian angel, shielding him from expulsion and ensuring he remained in the Navy despite his rebellious nature. It was Iceman who orchestrated Maverick's return to Top Gun as an instructor, recognizing that the Navy still needed him. Tragically, Iceman's battle with throat cancer mirrored Kilmer's real-life struggle, making his farewell all the more emotional. His final conversation with Maverick, where he asked, "Which of us is the better pilot?" was a heartfelt nod to their long-standing rivalry and friendship. With Iceman gone, Maverick lost his biggest advocate, reinforcing his status as an outsider in the Navy hierarchy. At this point, it's pretty much guaranteed that the whole humans versus drones concept will be a major part of Top Gun 3. The only question is how they'll execute it. Will Maverick be training a new generation to take on the machines, or will he be the one leading the charge in the skies? Either way, it's going to be wild. One thing's for sure, whenever Top Gun 3 finally lands, it's gonna be worth the wait. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop. And if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.